Welcome to the deep dive. So you reached out wanting to understand something, well, incredibly central to all our lives, right? Human behavior.
hmm
You were looking to cut through the noise, get the real insights about why we do what we do. And you shared some fascinating research areas.
Yeah,
That's exactly what we're going to do, a tailored exploration just for you.
exactly. We've taken a really close look at the material, spanning psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral science.
Quite the range.
It is. And our goal isn't just to present different viewpoints separately. It's more about weaving them together.
Right, into something cohesive, something you can really take away and use.
That's the idea, a synthesis.
Okay, so the mission for this deep dive: extract those key nuggets of knowledge, the drivers of human behavior, from the brain's workings right up to our social world.
Yep.
We want this to be engaging, informative, giving you real substance, but without feeling like you're drowning in jargon or endless details.
Absolutely. Keep it focused.
All right, let's unpack this. When we think about understanding why we act the way we do, where's the best place to start? Like the most illuminating entry point?
Well, I think a really insightful way to begin is to look at how our understanding itself has evolved, the science of behavior.
How we study it has changed.
Exactly. Initially, the focus was very much on what could be directly observed, seen, and measured.
Okay.
Think of B.F. Skinner and his work on operant conditioning. His research basically showed us how fundamentally our actions can be shaped by what happens after we do them.
Ah, reinforcements, rewards, and punishments.
Precisely. The reinforcements or lack thereof in our environment.
Right. So if you do something and something good happens, you're more likely to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's negative, you probably learn to steer clear. It seems straightforward, but it really highlights how our environment shapes us, doesn't it?
It does. You can see how that basic principle plays out in so many everyday scenarios for you, for everyone. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Behaviorism gave us that crucial initial insight, how external consequences influence what we do. But, it wasn't the whole story.
Right.
The field expanded. Albert Bandura's work, for instance, was huge. He showed that we're not just reacting to our own direct experiences.
Ah, right. We learn by watching others.
Exactly. We learn a huge amount by observing and imitating the people around us. Just think about how much you've probably learned simply by watching others navigate situations.
That rings so true. Picking up social cues, learning a new skill at work just by watching someone.
Mm-hmm. Driving a car, even.
Yeah. It's like we have these internal learning mechanisms constantly soaking up information from our social world. So it wasn't just about what happened to us personally.
But also what we saw happening around us is a really significant step forward.
Makes sense.
And early behavioral science, it really pushed for studying behavior in a measurable way, moving away from just subjective introspection.
Which was important for making it a science.
Definitely. And these foundational ideas, they really pave the way for the kind of interdisciplinary approaches we see now, where psychology connects with fields like, say, cognitive neuroscience.
Okay.
As one of the sources you shared actually put it quite well. Behaviorism brought us the insight that our actions can be shaped by environmental contingencies.
The Skinner part.
Right. But it is the later integration of cognitive processes that provides a fuller picture of the human mind.
Ah. So understanding the thinking part was key.
Exactly. That quote really highlights how understanding our internal mental processes, the cognitive stuff, is essential for a complete picture.
That makes perfect sense. It's like behaviorism gave us the outline, the basic shape, but now we're filling in all the intricate details of how our minds actually work. Which brings us, I guess, to the brain itself.
Yes, absolutely.
That seems to be the central player in how we understand behavior today.
It really is. Advances in brain imaging, like fMRI, and also computational modeling.
Yeah.
They've given us completely new ways to explore what's happening under the hood.
Peeking inside the black box.
Kind of. We can now investigate the neural circuits involved in pretty much everything you do, making a quick decision, feeling a complex emotion.
Wow.
And one really influential idea here, something that comes up a lot, is predictive processing.
Predictive processing. Okay, let's really dig into this one. It sounds like a key piece of the puzzle for understanding yourself. Can you paint a clearer picture? What does that involve?
Okay, so think of your brain as, well, not just passively receiving information, but constantly trying to guess what's going to happen next.
Guess. Based on what?
Based on all your past experiences. It's continuously generating expectations, predictions. Sometimes these are called priors.
Priors, like pre-existing beliefs or assumptions.
Sort of, yeah. Think of them like well-worn paths in your brain representing what you anticipate will happen. Then new information comes in through your senses, sight, sound, touch,
Okay.
and your brain compares this incoming data to its predictions.
And if they don't match?
If there's a mismatch, a prediction error, the brain updates its predictions. It learns. It's like your brain is always running a simulation of your world, trying to anticipate it and constantly refining its internal model to match reality better.
Huh. So it's not just passively reacting to stuff happening now, it's actively anticipating what will happen. That's a really different way to think about how your mind engages with the world.
It is quite a shift in perspective.
How does this predictive thing help us understand why you might develop certain habits or even biases?
Right. Well, think about it. If a prediction consistently turns out to be accurate or useful,
Yeah.
it becomes a stronger prior, a more deeply ingrained expectation. These strong priors can then solidify into habits.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Say you consistently predict that checking your phone during a quiet moment will give you a little hit of engagement or novelty.
Okay, yeah. Familiar feeling.
If that prediction is usually met, it gets reinforced. The prior strengthens. And that can easily become a habitual phone check, almost automatic.
Ah, okay. I see the link.
Hmm.
And biases.
Biases can emerge from these strong priors, too. If you have a strong expectation about something, you might unconsciously favor information that confirms that expectation.
Confirmation bias.
Exactly. And you might tend to overlook or discount information that challenges your prior belief, your prediction. Think about how easy it is online to find information that just confirms what you already think is true.
Yeah, the echo chambers. It's like your brain is taking these mental shortcuts based on what it's learned to expect. It saves energy, I guess.
It's efficient, yes.
Yeah.
But it can also lock us into certain patterns. Now, one of the sources you looked at also touched on something fascinating related to this, these transformative experiences.
Right, and the idea of deconstructing the predictive mind, that sounds pretty profound for understanding your own experience.
It is. It's quite deep. The idea is that certain very deep contemplative practices, like advanced meditation techniques, are sometimes reported to potentially lead to states where these ingrained predictive patterns are, well, temporarily quieted, or maybe even seen through, observed, without being caught up in them.
Wow. So less automatic predicting.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
The idea is that by lessening that constant stream of subconscious predictions and comparisons, individuals might experience a more direct, maybe more unfiltered awareness of their surroundings, their internal states.
Through all experience.
Something like that. It's a really fascinating and, frankly, complex area of study. But it suggests that even these fundamental predictive mechanisms might have some flexibility. They might not be totally fixed.
Fascinating. It's almost like getting a peek behind the curtain of how your own mind builds your reality second by second.
That's a good way to put it.
And then the sources also brought up deep neural networks, AI, basically. How do these computational models fit into understanding your behavior?
Right. So deep neural networks, which are, a cornerstone of modern AI, they're actually inspired by the structure of the brain itself. Layers of interconnected nodes, somewhat like neurons.
Okay.
They're designed to learn from massive amounts of data. They get really good at identifying patterns and making predictions based on that data.
Like the brain's predictive processing, but in silicon.
There are definitely parallels being drawn. Researchers in behavioral science use these networks as sort of experimental models. They can simulate aspects of human cognition.
How does that help?
Well, by observing how these networks learn how they adjust their internal connections based on feedback to get better at a task, we can gain insights into similar processes in your brain.
Ah, okay.
Especially how you learn from feedback, how you make decisions in complex situations where there's lots of information. They help us understand, on a computational level, how behavior might be modeled and predicted based on experience.
Can you give an example there?
Yeah. Some networks are particularly good at spotting subtle patterns in huge data sets of, say, human choices, consumer choices, or even moral dilemmas. Studying the patterns the network finds can give us clues about the underlying psychological processes driving those choices.
So it's like we're building these maybe simplified versions of our own neural architecture to get a better handle on how the real thing works inside you. That's a pretty powerful concept.
It really is opening up new avenues for research.
But, okay, your behavior isn't just about what's happening internally in your head, right? I mean, your social environment, the people around you, that plays a massive role.
Oh, absolutely. Crucial. As humans, we are fundamentally social creatures.
Yeah.
Our behavior is deeply, deeply interwoven with the people around us.
You don't exist in a vacuum.
Not at all. And social network analyses work pioneered by researchers like Nicholas Christakis and James Fowler have really highlighted this interconnectedness.
What have they found?
Well, they've shown how your social connections can influence a surprisingly wide range of things. Your habits, certainly, but also your moods, aspects of your physical health, even things like political views.
Wow. Can you give some specific examples of how those influences might play out in someone's life?
Sure, think about something like happiness. Their research suggests that happiness can actually spread through social networks.
Like catching a feeling.
In a way, yes. If people you're directly connected to become happier, you have a statistically higher chance of becoming happier yourself. And it can ripple outwards, even to people you don't know directly.
That's amazing. What else?
Well, similarly, studies have looked at health-related behaviors. Things like smoking cessation. You're more likely to quit if people in your network quit. Even obesity patterns seem to show network effects.
So your friends' habits can literally rub off on you.
They can. And in group settings, you're part of work teams, committees, whatever the structure of those social connections, who talks to who influences whom. That significantly impacts how decisions get made and the overall group dynamics.
It really is like you're part of this intricate web, isn't it? And what happens with the people you're connected to can genuinely ripple through and affect your own experiences.
Precisely. It emphasizes that the individual isn't the only unit of analysis. The network matters.
And then, layering on top of those immediate social circles, we have the broader influence of culture, right?
Exactly. Culture provides this larger context. Your cultural background with its unique norms, its values, its traditions, it shapes how you express your behavior in countless ways.
Wow, so.
Well, think about simple things. What's considered a polite greeting? How close do you stand when talking to someone? How openly do you express emotion? These vary hugely across cultures.
Right. Totally different norms.
Your cultural environment provides kind of framework for how you understand the world and how you interact with others. It influences everything from your communication style to your moral judgments to your emotional responses.
It's deeply ingrained.
Very. As one of your sources pointed out, the interplay between individual cognitive processes and the social fabric creates a dynamic system.
Okay, a dynamic system.
Where behavior is both influenced by and reflective of our cultural milieu. So it's a two-way street. Your actions reflect the culture, and collective actions shape the culture over time.
That idea of a dynamic system really brings it all together, doesn't it? It's not just, nature versus nurture or internal versus external acting separately. It's all these things constantly interacting and influencing each other.
That's the modern understanding, yes. It's complex interplay.
So, okay, given all this complexity, the brain predicting, the social networks, the culture, where is all this research heading? What are some of the exciting new directions in understanding why you do what you do?
Well, one of the most promising areas, I think, is the growing integration. Taking these well-established psychological and neurological theories and combining them with cutting-edge technology.
Like the AI we talked about.
Exactly. Especially artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Yeah.
We touched on deep neural networks as models of cognition.
Right.
But their potential to help us understand your behavior goes further. They can be used to analyze absolutely massive amounts of data on human behavior, from social media, from sensors, from experimental studies.
Finding patterns we couldn't see before.
Precisely. Identifying subtle patterns and making predictions in ways that traditional statistical methods might miss. And they can even start to mimic certain aspects of human decision-making processes more realistically, giving us new ways to explore how those processes work.
So AI isn't just some separate tech thing. It's becoming a really valuable tool for you to understand yourself better.
That's increasingly the case. This synergy between computational models, like AI, and our cognitive theories, it really has the potential to, well, revolutionize fields like personalized mental health.
How so? Personalizing treatment.
Imagine AI analyzing your individual behavioral patterns, maybe from app usage or wearable sensors, to help tailor interventions or therapies that are most likely to be effective for you, not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Wow, that would be huge.
It could also lead to more adaptive educational technologies, systems that adjust to your specific learning style and pace in real time.
That sounds incredibly beneficial, moving beyond just understanding behavior in the abstract to actually helping you thrive.
And that's where you see interdisciplinary initiatives making a real impact already. Institutions like the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, for example, they're very active in applying insights from behavioral science.
To what kind of problems?
To tackle real-world societal challenges. Things like designing more effective public policies. How do you encourage saving for retirement, or healthier eating habits, or improving how organizations function, teamwork, leadership, decision-making?
So taking the lab insights out into the world.
Exactly. It really underscores the practical power of understanding these drivers of human behavior in the world around you. As another source you shared noted, interdisciplinary approaches that blend psychology, neuroscience, and machine learning are poised to revolutionize our ability to predict and influence human behavior in real-world settings.
Revolutionize. That's a strong word, but it sounds like it might be justified given the potential.
I think the potential is definitely there. It's an exciting time for the field.
It really feels like all these different pieces we've talked about starting with just observable actions.
Skinner and Bandura,
Right. Then diving deeper into the brain's predictive nature.
the priors and updates,
Then adding the powerful influence of your social connections and culture.
the networks and norms.
And now bringing in these new computational tools like AI, it feels like they're finally converging, coming together to create a much more comprehensive picture for you.
I think that's a fair assessment. We
Yeah.
definitely covered a significant amount of ground in this deep dive, looking at everything from the neural computations underlying your decisions to the profound impact of social forces and this exciting convergence of different fields.
And it's clear this isn't a finished story, right? Understanding human behavior is, well, it's an ongoing scientific journey.
Absolutely. It's constantly evolving. New discoveries are being made all the time that will further illuminate things for you, for all of us.
But we have made incredible progress.
Remarkable progress, yes. Thanks to decades of really dedicated research and, more recently, the emergence of these powerful new technologies we've discussed.
And this whole pursuit, understanding ourselves better,
Hmm.
it isn't just academic, is it?
Not at all.
Huh.
It holds real potential for tangible benefits, enhancing your individual well-being, helping people make better choices, maybe even fostering greater understanding and harmony within our communities and societies.
That's the hope anyway.
That's the hope.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, as you go about your day. Just kind of notice it. Think about this interplay. How do your own internal thoughts, those constant predictions your brain is making, how do they interact with your social environment, your friends, your family, your culture? How do these forces together shape your daily actions, your habits, maybe even some of your most deeply held beliefs? It's a fascinating dynamic happening inside you and around you all the time.
It really is.
Hopefully this deep dive has given you a new lens, a new perspective to observe it all. Thanks for taking the plunge with us.